Jason Dames here with Final Star Fitness again. Hey, just wanted to bring you a short little video. We talked a little bit about insulin resistance a couple videos back. So I told you I would bring up a few other of these key points that we talked about between the 5 key areas that influence your blood sugar levels and insulin, and they're hindering your ability to lose weight. So if you're a person that's looking for weight loss and trying to figure out, man, I can't lose these stubborn pounds, they just won't come off, this might be the video for you. Now, this isn't the only thing that could be a problem, but insulin resistance is a big key to get under control and could really affect how your body's ability to lose weight. So if you remember right, I'm just gonna go backtrack a little bit. We talked about how high carbohydrate diets can influence your blood sugar and keep the blood sugar elevated for long periods of time, which makes you release a lot of insulin, causing this concept called insulin resistance. So what happens in that particular, what happens when you eat that way with a high sugar diet is that you eat carbohydrates, they digest in your digestive system, then it's released, the sugar is released into your bloodstream. Now, as soon as the blood sugar is released into the bloodstream, your pancreas releases this insulin. Now remember, we talked about these receptors. So what happens is the insulin binds to these receptors, sends a signal into the cell saying, hey, use up this sugar, and then the mitochondria burn up the sugar and use it for energy. So the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. You might recognize that from biology class. So it's where we make energy and where we produce energy and where we burn energy. So remember, the hormone insulin sends a signal in there. Now what happens when you're resistant is that the hormone is sending the signal inside the cell to allow the sugar and get used for energy, but that cell is not getting the signal anymore because it's being bombarded with sugar all the time, and it becomes resistant. So now the sugar, the carbohydrates that you eat, they don't get used as energy, they back up into the bloodstream, your body converts that into fat and stores it. So that's what insulin resistance is in terms of carbohydrates, but there's some other things that can influence insulin resistance that I just wanted to cover real quick briefly for you. So that way you can kind of get a full picture. It takes a full balance. Remember, these 5 key things I talk about all the time. It's nutrition, exercise, sleep, stress, and toxins. If you want to remember that as an acronym, it's NEST. So really, all these are like a piece of a puzzle to put together. When you're talking about weight loss, you're talking about feeling good, you're talking about being healthy. These 5 key things are all important. It's just not just one or the other. You can have good nutrition, but if you got the rest of these messed up, it's going to really prevent you from having the results that you want. So let's just dive into the 4 other key areas real quick, and I'll just briefly discuss how they play a role in your insulin resistance and how you can kind of take control of that to become more insulin sensitive, so that way you can actually use the food that you're eating very efficiently, and to where as of now you may not just be using the food that you are eating very efficiently, so that could be your problem. It's not so much, remember, calories are just a part of the problem. Obviously, if you eat too many calories, you're going to gain weight. But most of the time, it's really the root cause of weight gain really has almost everything to do with hormonal balance. If you can get hormonal balance, then everything starts to work properly, and you start to use the food that you're eating as energy rather than store it as fat, right? So hormones balance out our body. Exercise, we're going to just talk about this briefly. Everybody knows we should exercise, but just to give you an understanding, I mean, exercise, what it does is it basically just puts stressors on your body. So whenever you're running really hard or you're doing a really intense exercise, what it does is it puts all this stress onto the cell. And so your cells basically go, hey, we need to restructure ourselves, get bigger and better for next time. It's like if you had an army and you get attacked and they just almost wipe you out. You're like, man, we gotta restructure ourselves, get prepared for this next battle, or else we're gonna be a mess. So that's what exercise does, is it induces these small stressors that cause our body to adapt, so that way we can be more efficient, become better. In the case of the cell, when you exercise, you actually create more mitochondria inside the cell. So the less active you are, the less mitochondria that you have in the cell, which means you're not going to burn energy very well. And so the less mitochondria in here, the less your cells need sugar. So again, that's going to cause more insulin resistance. If we can create more mitochondria and get them things moving again and get things burning and going, then you're going to be able to your body will be able to intake more glucose, therefore burning it more efficiently. So I'm not going to go a whole lot more into that, but you get the point. Sleep. Sleep's so important. It's where your body does all of its recovering. You raise growth hormone, all your beneficial hormones for recovery. Your cells start to repair your muscle tissue. That's where you do all the growing, anabolic phase. And what happens is when people are up late at night and they're not getting much sleep, you actually activate stress hormones that do a lot of different damage, like cortisol. Cortisol also prevents, and it kind of gets your hunger hormones all whacked out too, because there's two hormones that are specifically geared towards hunger, and that's ghrelin and leptin. So ghrelin causes you to crave more food, right? It makes your stomach start growling. It tells you that you're hungry. Leptin is a hormone that tells your body to stop eating, you're full. What happens when you're not getting much sleep is that ghrelin goes up, and particularly at night, so it means you're going to crave more of the wrong foods to get blood sugar up at night when you don't want it, when your body's the most insulin resistant as possible. And then leptin's going to go down, which is the hormone, like I said, that tells you that you're full. So then to get way out of whack, you can see you're craving the wrong type of foods at night, eating late at night, and you're storing more fat, right? You're raising cortisol and stress hormones. So not to mention all kinds of other cascade effects that happens from lack of sleep. We won't go into a whole lot more with that either, but you can kind of see how we're starting to really ramp up. They all are intertwined. One affects the other. So if you're not getting good exercise or nutrition, it's going to affect your sleep. Getting lack of sleep is also going to affect your stress levels. So speaking of stress, let's go into that. Stress causes cortisol to go up, which is the stress hormone. Cortisol is directly tied with blood sugar, because when cortisol goes up, it releases stored sugar from your liver and your muscles. So if you constantly have high stress levels, you're releasing blood sugar throughout the whole day. So you can see why, again, this cell becomes more insulin resistant. Remember, we said the more bombarded you are with sugar, the more insulin resistant you become. So it's kind of the fight or flight mode that we go into when we're stressed. Like if you're getting ready to get chased by a bear, you want that to happen because it dials in your eyes, you get focused, you get this energy, your body raises this blood sugar off. But when you're getting chased by a bear, you actually burn that energy off and you use it up. When you're just sitting at a desk all day and you're stressed out and you're elevating your blood sugar and you don't have nowhere to go with that blood sugar again, when you're insulin resistant, you're going to be storing more fat all throughout the day. So we don't want stress. There's so many other factors we can talk to you about stress. But one of the last things we're going to talk about is toxins. Toxins are really wreak havoc. I mean, we're exposed to like thousands of toxins a day. When you think about the skin products that you put on yourself, whether it's your deodorant, your toothpaste, your shampoo, soaps, you name it. And then you add in all the toxins that we're getting from our food, other exposures like from plastics. These things disrupt our hormones. They bind to the same receptors, except they don't work like hormones. They do more damage, and they basically mess up the communication system that we have in our bodies, right? So we don't want that. That means we're going to store more fat. So these toxins ultimately affect things like thyroid, growth hormone, adrenaline, all your fat storing hormones like ghrelin and leptin, cortisol, all these different particular hormones are all interconnected. And so when you throw them all unbalanced and you get them imbalanced, you're going to have a lot of problems. You're going to be storing fat when you shouldn't be. It's going to be hard to lose weight. You're going to not have energy. You're not going to want to exercise. And then it affects your ability to go to sleep at the right times. You can see how this is all interconnected. So when you start to put all these together, remember, it's a piece of the puzzle. And so as you a lot of times you're going in a negative way. You can turn this cycle around, get things going in a positive direction. You make a plan in each one of these and you just start to improve. Let's say it's like your nutrition. Maybe you just start by drinking a little bit of extra water, 80 ounces of water a day. That might be a goal you set. We'll talk about in a second, but all these really, really affect the last thing I want to talk about, which is your microbiome. Your microbiome is your gut bacteria in your GI tract. We have 10 times more bacteria than we do regular cells in our body. And these bacteria influence 70% of our insulin and our blood sugar. It regulates the blood sugar in our body. So you can see like the carbohydrate part of it is a small part of the issue, but if our gut bacteria is very disrupted, let's say you have a lot more bad bacteria than you do have good, that bad bacteria is going to really influence your body's ability to regulate that blood sugar correctly and your insulin. So you're always constantly raising your insulin, and then you create more insulin resistance. So if you can start doing things like adding more good beneficial bacteria, like let's say you start a probiotic, or you eat some fermented foods, start restoring the gut, maybe doing some bone broth to help heal the lining of the gut, which maybe have a lot of inflammation. Want to downregulate some of that inflammation as well. Then you're going to be on your way to start really helping heal the gut microbiome, restoring that good bacteria, so that way your blood sugar starts to work correctly and you can become more insulin sensitive, so you can downregulate that inflammation. So you can see, again, this is a full spectrum picture. And what I was talking about before is if we could just start setting goals in each one of these areas. If it's for exercise, let's say it's just 3 times a week for half an hour of high intensity. Most people can do that. It's 30 minutes, an hour and a half for a whole week. You can fit that in your lifestyle. What we want to do is create practical solutions that you can, that's what Final Start Fitness is all about, is creating habits in your life that you can do long term. So that way you can look good, feel good, you can be on your way to like recovery from, whether it's just feeling sick, getting better sleep. All these things, are just going to make your quality of life so much better. And if you can imagine yourself down the road when you're like in your 60s, 70s, 80s, and you're thriving, and you can actually run around with your grandkids, and the little things that you take advantage of so many things in life until you can't do them. So let's just make this your final start so you can create them habits now, and you don't have to live, bad, unhealthy lifestyle that, just is very unfulfilling as you grow older. My name is Jason Dames. I hope these videos help you. It's my goal, my prayer that you get something out of these videos. If you do like them and it's been beneficial for you, please share us on Facebook. You can go on our YouTube page and you can subscribe to our channel. It's Final Start Fitness. Again, hope you have a great day. Jason Dames, Final Start Fitness. God bless you.